Warning, what you're about to hear may challenge your beliefs, your patience, and possibly your blood pressure. This show contains opinions that are not FDA approved, data points that may break the emotional support spreadsheets used by federal agencies, and commentary sharp enough to cut through whatever narrative duct tape the media is currently using to hold their story together. If you're sensitive to uncomfortable truths, political hypocrisy, or watching institutions trip over their own explanations like a drunk tourist on Bourbon Street, this may not be the program for you. Viewer discretion is strongly advised, especially for those who believe every government press release should be taken at face value. And to anyone listening from the alphabet agencies who keeps randomly checking in on our episodes, relax. We know you're saving the show in your training materials folder. Just make sure you get our names right on the report this time.
There are scandals that simmer, and then there are scandals that explode because someone forgot to put the lid on the pressure cooker. What started on Monday as a suspicious anomaly, a glitch, a typo, a data hiccup, has transformed into something far larger, far darker, and far more deliberate. The kind of story that exposes how fragile truth becomes when the people in charge of reporting it decide to massage, smooth, or outright alter the numbers before the public ever sees them. In the last 48 hours, we've watched states scramble to explain why thousands of offenders were magically recategorized. Agencies quietly retract earlier statements without acknowledging they've changed them, and a whistleblower stepped forward with testimony that suggests the misclassification wasn't just known. It was encouraged. This isn't a correction. This is a revelation. One that's now forcing the country to ask the most uncomfortable question of all. If the numbers can be rewritten, what else has already been rewritten? Tonight, we pick up the story where Monday left off. Tonight, we step into the fallout. All right, folks, welcome back to Data and Dissonance, the only show where facts matter, spin dies, and the group chat stays undefeated. And as always, I'm joined by the crew who each handle breaking news like it's a personal attack. Brian is here, the man who saw the whistleblower statement and yelled, "Bro, I told you," so loud his neighbors filed a noise complaint. This dude hasn't blinked since Monday. He's running on caffeine, patriotism, and pure MAGA battery acid. Rachel is in the building, the independent with enough research tabs open to crash a NASA supercomputer. She saw the new DHS leak and whispered, "Oh, they're cooked," like she was watching a true crime finale. Daniel showed up already holding a corkboard, 5 markers, and yarn. He didn't even wait for the topic. He just sat down and said, "I have updates." Brother looks like he aged 3 years since Monday in conspiracy energy alone. And Skylar is here, ready to defend institutions that absolutely do not deserve defending. She walked in like, "Guys, let's not jump to conclusions," while the FBI was literally deleting PDFs in the background. All right, gang, let's dig into the mess. This thing has gone from suspicious to insane in 48 hours. We've got a DHS whistleblower claiming misclassification wasn't accidental. States discovering new corrupted records. Internal emails telling supervisors to avoid facilitating racial profiling arguments. And the media quietly altering earlier coverage like they're trying to hide scratch marks on a stolen car. Brian, I'm scared to even ask, where's your head at?
Artie, I'm beyond, "I told you so." I'm in a whole new spiritual plane of vindication. This wasn't sloppy. This wasn't lazy. This was deliberate political engineering carried out by bureaucrats who thought they'd never get caught. When a whistleblower comes forward and says supervisors instructed local agencies to standardize demographic outcomes to prevent harmful narratives, that's not only corruption, that's propaganda. That's the government deciding what reality should look like instead of presenting what it is. And for years, they've been force-feeding Americans this sanitized version of crime statistics, telling us we're racist if we question the numbers, while they quietly manipulate the spreadsheets like Vegas card sharks. And what blows my mind is how fast the media switched gears. On Monday, CNN said, "No evidence of wrongdoing." By Tuesday night, those segments mysteriously vanished, replaced with watered-down corporate speak about legacy systems and uncertainty. No apology, no correction, just bury the truth under digital rubble. And the fact that multiple states, Minnesota, Arizona, Illinois, Washington, all found the same pattern? Brother, that's not coincidence. That's coordination. And the people responsible didn't just fail the public, they sabotaged trust at a national level. This is the biggest data scandal of the decade, and every single person who touched it should be dragged into hearings by sunrise.
Brian, you're basically vibrating. I'm worried you're going to spontaneously combust. Rachel, you're our calm in the storm. Help us understand this without flipping the table.
What's unfolding isn't just a manipulation of numbers, it's a collapse of credibility. When a federal manual includes language like demographic fields may be adjusted based on interdepartmental review, that's bureaucratic code for we reserve the right to alter how people look on paper. That undermines the entire purpose of data collection. Crime reporting exists so the public can understand patterns, policymakers can respond effectively, and communities can evaluate whether their institutions are functioning. When those numbers are distorted, especially for political optics, you're not just shaping narrative, you're impairing the ability to govern. And now we're seeing the consequences. States finding thousands of misclassifications, sheriffs discovering cases they never authorized changes for, federal agencies contradicting their own statements in real time, and a public that now has no idea which crime statistics they can trust at all. Data doesn't just inform policy, it is policy. And once people lose faith in the numbers, every debate becomes a shouting match. Every statistic becomes suspicious, and every institution looks like it's hiding something. We're staring at the fallout of years of narrative shaping, and no matter where you sit politically, this is a disaster for transparency.
Rachel dropping truth like she's billing the government by the hour. Daniel, you've been pacing like a detective in season 5 of a crime drama. Let loose.
Artie, this isn't just malpractice. It's the kind of coordinated bureaucratic operation that only surfaces when the machinery fails. Look at the timing. The misclassifications started ramping up right when national conversations about crime and race were at their most politically volatile. Suddenly, agencies had updated guidelines, and statistical anomalies began mirroring political talking points. That's not coincidence, that's ideological engineering. And when you pair that with the leaked email telling supervisors to avoid facilitating racial profiling arguments, you're staring at motive, method, and execution. These weren't rogue clerks. This was a system recalibrated to rewrite reality in a way that made certain political movements look justified and their critics look unhinged. And now that the truth is leaking, watch who panics. Watch who rushes to downplay, dismiss, or redirect. Because the people screaming, "It's not a big deal," are the same people who benefited from a constructed reality. This wasn't about protecting communities. It was about protecting narratives.
Skylar, I can already hear you breathing heavily. Jump in. Try to convince America this wasn't a dumpster fire.
Look, I'm not going to defend misclassification. It's unacceptable, full stop. But I also don't buy the idea that this was some grand conspiracy designed to manipulate the public. What we're looking at, in my view, is a system that has been technologically outdated for years, patched together across agencies with wildly different priorities and pressured constantly by political changes. When you have fragmented databases, inconsistent reporting standards, and overworked analysts trying to reconcile incompatible systems, errors compound, especially under directives emphasizing harm reduction or bias mitigation. Do I think someone intentionally sat down and said, let's inflate white offender numbers? No. I think people were trying to prevent misinterpretation of raw data without understanding that altering classification, even slightly, creates a much bigger problem. This is institutional incompetence, not malice. And if we want transparency, we need to fix the systems instead of assuming everyone involved was part of a coordinated cover-up.
Skylar, I appreciate the attempt, but the problem is simple. The more evidence that comes out, the less accidental it looks. We've got directives, altered segments, removed archives, states uncovering the same anomalies, and a whistleblower whose job was literally to monitor reporting integrity saying, "Yeah, this was done on purpose. That's not a system glitch. That's a system captured." And here's the worst part. Once people realize the numbers have been manipulated for political optics, they stop trusting any numbers. And when public trust dies, everything else follows. Elections, policing, accountability, oversight. All of it becomes noise. If truth can be edited, society fractures. And whether you think this was incompetence or intentional deception, the outcome is the same. A government that can't be believed. Tonight's episode is fueled, quite literally, by the Data and Dissonance Coffee Collection. And let's be real. If you're trying to process the idea that federal crime data might have been edited like a Wikipedia page after midnight, you're going to need something strong in your mug. High Lakes Light Roast. Bright, smooth, citrusy. The kind of coffee you drink when you want to believe the world still makes sense. Perfect for mornings when you wake up and think, maybe today won't be insane. Spoiler, it will be. But at least the coffee's good. Rock Creek Medium Roast. Balanced, bold, hints of toffee and dark chocolate. This is the roast for people who look at breaking news and say, "Yep, I knew it." Then take a slow sip like a detective in the final act of a noir film. Bitterroot Dark Roast. This one hits like Brian reading a CNN article. Hard, fast, and with zero sugar coating. Deep cocoa, toasted nuts, and that strong, unapologetic finish that pairs perfectly with government incompetence. Available in ground or whole bean, roasted right here in the USA. Grab all three at dataanddissonance.printify.me. Fuel your morning. Survive the headlines. Tonight's story isn't just about misclassification. It's about the subtle erosion of something we take for granted. The belief that numbers tell the truth. When institutions quietly alter data to avoid political discomfort, they're not preventing harm. They're creating a reality that doesn't exist. And when that artificial reality collapses, trust collapses with it. A free society can survive bad news. What it cannot survive is dishonest reporting of that news. More information will come out. More agencies will scramble. More archives will mysteriously update. But here's the part that matters. People are finally paying attention. Americans are looking at the numbers, the glitches, the standardization memos, and asking, why were we lied to? That's the beginning of accountability. That's the moment institutions realize people aren't swallowing their narratives anymore. And that's when real transparency begins. Not because the system wants it, but because the public demands it. So as we move into the rest of this week, remember this. Facts don't need protection. Truth doesn't need editing. And data doesn't need narrative alignment. It just needs to be honest. And that's what we do here. Every day, every episode, no matter who gets uncomfortable. Remember to speak truth. Stir thought. Tonight's episode is brought to you by the Caleb Rourke Thriller series. The only place where the conspiracies are fictional, but somehow still feel more organized than the federal government's crime data reporting system. Start with the Covenant Protocol, where a covert operative uncovers a hidden plan buried deep within layers of classified intelligence. A plan no one was ever supposed to see. Move into the Prophet Directive, where alliances crumble, enemies multiply, and the thin line between truth and manipulation becomes razor sharp. And coming soon, Black Echo Rising, a new chapter that dives even deeper into the shadows with a storyline so tense, so atmospheric, and so relentless that you might start questioning just how fictional it really is. These books are everything Washington isn't. Coherent, gripping, and impossible to ignore. Find them on Amazon. Just search Caleb Rourke series